All right. Chug it, chug it, chug it, chug it, chugging on. Ow. Hit my hand on the table. With my ABC review series. And I know I try to, So I know I try to give a bit of a hint for each one, but I think this is the hardest one to give for because I've never seen it. I have heard stuff about it months ago. Actually, I can tell you 5 months ago. About 5 months ago. Cody Leach, he put out a review for this movie, The Lookout. So I immediately, because usually when he, tells his viewers, he recommends a movie to his viewers, it's because it's one that he really likes and it is really good, and he hasn't steered me wrong yet. I have followed him with Frailty, Session 9, The Ref was one that he recommended to his viewers. So, and it's another one. I don't remember them all, but this was another one. And this is another good one to watch. And I didn't, I watched his review, but it was 5 months ago, so I didn't remember anything about it. So I watched it again after watching his movie, and now I understand, You didn't spoil anything, so watch the review if you want, but this film stars Joseph Gordon-Levitt, who I've always liked as an actor, all the way back to Angels in the Outfield, which I think I did. Did I do it? No? Have I done a review for that yet? I feel like I did. Well, I don't know. I'll look after this. If I have, watch the review. If I haven't, well, then you can't watch it yet. But I don't remember doing it, though. I may have a Disney-cember, or a Diz-cember. Sorry, I don't need copyright. Diz-cember, but, so Joseph Gordon-Levitt stars as Chris Pratt. Yeah, and this was in 2007, so before Chris Pratt was a big thing. I don't know if he was on The Office yet. Probably not. But, yeah, so his name was Chris Pratt. And he's this guy, he was a big shot hockey player. And during an outing with his friends, driving with the lights off, that's smart. Because he wanted to see the fireflies, I guess. They get in an accident where 2 of his friends are killed, and his girlfriend gets her leg injured, leg cut off, or maybe he gets injured. I don't know if it's good, but they show later that her leg gets. Well, that was a dream or a daydream, but I think you got her leg amputated. She got a fake leg now, I think, but because of this, Chris now has a brain disorder where he can't remember things. It's kind of like 50 First Dates, where he has a hard time remembering things, so he writes stuff down. But his short-term memory loss isn't as bad as hers, where he doesn't remember. It's not comical like hers, where. But not 50 First Dates yet. That's one I should do next month. But yeah, so. He has that mental problem, and he's been paired up and lives in a apartment with Lewis, played by Jeff Daniels, who was blind. And so they kind of work off each other. And there's this scene where he's, Lewis has left him a message that, hey, you need to make spaghetti, which is what I'm making for myself for supper. There's 2 cans of tomatoes. I just get the pre-made sauce, and I had some garlic, cheese, and sausage, because I like the Italian taste of the Italian sausage. So yeah, that's how I do. But he's doing it from scratch, basically, with tomatoes and stuff. Do it any way you like. I think they even show making their own pasta, so that's really from scratch. But yeah, and he can't find a can opener. He thinks he finds it, but it's a garlic crusher. And so he flips out. And it's a tense moment because he's freaking out. And that's part of his thing, is that he has freakouts every once in a while. But it is funny because Jeff Daniels comes in and he's blind, right? So he comes in and he has the can, which has been dented and stuff, and he goes right over to the to the can opener, which is hanging underneath the counter, which is funny, but it's also like, why didn't he see it underneath the counter? Didn't he look? I don't know. Because you gotta start to remember where everything is. So you think you'd have it if that was your thing? You think you'd put it on your fridge where everything is? A list on your fridge. Okay, where's this? Look it up, or you have like a file system that you keep out. And maybe a file system is hard to remember, but hanging something on your fridge would be something. Important to Chris. Location's an apartment, and never move it from that location, and put it back where you found it. If you don't remember where you found it, that kind of thing. It does, I don't know. But yeah, and he has his job at bank, which leads into our main plot. He is approached by a woman whose name is Lovely Lemons, played by Isla Fisher. And we'll get into her because I think my biggest gripe with this film is her. And not in the same way that it was with Cody, where he said her acting was off. I think she was supposed to be kind of awkward. But it's what they do with her. Because it doesn't make a lot of sense. But anyway, she talks to him and, my friend, And so he starts hanging out with Matthew Good's character, Gary, and, they hang out, friends, stuff like that, and eventually his true intention comes around. He wants to rob the bank that he works at. And we do get a chance to see kind of Chris's routine at this bank, where you have, Deputy Donut, as they call him, showing up and giving him donuts every night. And of course they've been watching him and stuff, and then you have this guy here, who I thought was Peter Fonda because he kind of looks like him, but he's not even a Fonda. But yeah, just so yeah, his plan is he wants to rob this bank, but he needs him to do it, and so Chris reluctantly agrees. They do go through some holidays like this. Hey, this takes place around Christmas. Could this be a Christmas movie? There's not enough of it, and where the ref was set on Christmas Eve, there's not enough Christmas in it. They do Thanksgiving and Christmas in this. And okay, there's one thing about Chris that I want to point out. Like, the characterization of his brain damage, I think it's done really well, except for when he does the random blurt outs. Like early in the film, there's a scene with Carla Gugino, which is her only scene, and he's just like, "I want to fuck you," and it's just like, okay. And then later when he's talking to Lovely, he goes, "I want to see you naked," and it's like, because it's like, I don't know if that kind of brain damage, if it's supposed to be like the 51st Dates kind of thing, but less comical, that it would, like, that he would just blurt out things like that. I understand not remembering certain things, but I don't know. That's only part of his brain damage thing that I just didn't care for as a person. And thankfully they don't do it that much. But yeah, and then he's got, his dad, played by Bruce McGill, is in it. He's good. Not much time with the mom, but there's a scene with the dad where he's playing chess. And I'm sitting there going, why would you play chess with your son who doesn't remember how to, and is prone to anger, to break out of anger, why would you do that? And it's even worse because he's like, I don't want to play chess. He goes, what, you expect me to let you win? I'm like, well, at least go a little bit easy on him. Because I think he cheated. Because he used his son's brain damage against him. Because he set him up for this thing. He's like, check. And he's like, oh, your queen's out there. So he does that. And he's like, oh, checkmate. And it's like, you set him up. You used him. Because he wouldn't remember. You probably done it to him before, but he wouldn't remember that's... I don't know. It's just what it seemed to me. But anyway, let's get into the bank robbery, because this is where it really picks up, you know? A lot of movies, it starts, you know, okay. So, just before the bank robbery, I'm going to list my problem with Lovely Lemons. She disappears from the movie and never comes back into it. So, she's talking to Jeff Daniels' character, right? And he's asking, you know, what are you doing here? That's kind of an awkward scene because she's like, he tells her that he got blind from looking at the sun and she believes him. Okay, ditzy redhead, sure. But then he's like, no, that's not how I got blind. Apparently he was cooking meth. Which is ironic because that's exactly what they would be doing in Dumb and Dumber 2. Cooking meth. They didn't get blind, but Harry would be cooking meth in Dumb and Dumber 2. So that's a little ironic. From what I remember, I've only seen half of that movie because some idiot was running up and down the steps in the movie theater because he had like 4 energy drinks, screaming about his girlfriend. I don't know. Some idiot. But, yeah, so when it's time for this to happen, it could become as obvious that she was just supposed to seduce him into doing it. Once it's done, you know, she's out. And she leaves the movie. And you get a sense that when she's looking back at him, that she really does care for him. But she leaves anyway. And she never comes back into the film. And it's even weirder that at the end of this film, he's more concerned about his ex-girlfriend that was in an accident than what the hell happened to her. And I understand he probably figured out she was in on it too, but shouldn't he still wonder what happened to her? Anyway, so to get this, you going, and another thing that kind of, so because he's doing this, this thing, he wants to distance himself from the people so they don't get hurt, right? So he has this, you know, he yells at Deputy Donut, you know, don't bring me donuts, because he didn't want him to show up and come in, you know, and get involved in the middle of it, which happens anyway. And then he goes off on Lewis and says, I'm moving out. And try to get him to stay out of it too. I don't know what moving out is going to do, because if you come out of there, they're just going to go away. If it's going the way he thought it was going to, they'd steal the money. Maybe he go to jail? I don't know. But yeah, so the robbery happens. And Deputy Donut shows up twice. First he shows up, and he's like, hey, just thought I'd stop by, see how you're doing, and his wife was going into labor. Then he leaves, right? And so they start to do the robbery, and he makes Chris go in, because we see there's a camera in there. So they're going to make it look like it's an inside job, and he's doing it, you know. But then Deputy Donut comes back, and he realizes something's going on, and there's a shootout, and he dies. And when earlier in the film, when he revealed about his wife being pregnant, I'm like, oh, you dead. You're fucking dead. There's no way you're coming out of this film alive. You're going to die at some point. And when he like yelled at him to go away, I'm like, okay, maybe he won't come back. Maybe he's gonna be mad and he won't show up. Then when he showed up with his pregnant wife, I'm like, oh, you're get the headstone ready. And then he left. I'm like, okay, now stay away. And he came back and I'm like, man, fuck, okay, rest in peace, Deputy Donut. And yep, he was shot. But he gets off a few shots on the robbers too, including to Gary's gut. Is it just me, or does it take too fucking long for Gary to die from his wounds? It's like, he gets shot, and Chris is like, I'm out of here. So he takes off in the getaway car. Oh, by the way, what's Chris's job in this robbery? The lookout. But he also is the one that takes the money. But he runs off, and with the money, because he got the money in the trunk, and he finds shovels and stuff, so they were gonna kill him and bury his body and yeah, get rid of him anyway. But yeah, so he comes up with this plan that he has to write on a notebook so he can remember to bury the. Now, what is the scene where he gets stopped by the cops in the same place, still driving with no lights on? I don't know. But why was that scene in there? Because he takes off, he goes home. We see later he goes to his parents' home, and we see later it's to get gun, rifle, and then he goes home. I think he goes home first, and he sees that the lights are on, so he realizes someone's there because Lewis is. I want to call him Harry so bad. Lewis is blind, so he doesn't need the lights on. So he buries the money and writes down for himself where it is. And when he goes to confront them, he's like, I don't remember where the money is, which is smart. But then they see his notebook. I think he would have not had it on you, put it somewhere else, but who knows. And yeah, so they take it. It's buried by the road where he had his accident. And when Peter Fonda goes to shoot Lewis, he takes out the rifle and shoots not Peter Fonda. And then I guess does he shoot Gary? I think he shoots Gary. Like I said though, he goes from getting shot in the gut, and he lasts the entire rest of the fucking night and into the morning just going. I'm like, no, this dude should be dead by now, man. I think he shoots him, he dies. He turns, and we get some narration saying he turned himself in. And because they cut the phone lines instead of the camera wire, the camera cable, whatever it is, they got it on camera that he was being held at gunpoint. So they don't, and because of his mental stability, they don't believe that he really was really in on it or anything. He's at fault. So yeah, that's good. And he and Lewis open their own restaurant. Dad shows up and he's even seen. Oh, here's another thing. Just as he's going to meet up with them at the ice rink, he has another daydream where he goes into the building and sees his ex-girlfriend. She shows him her fake leg, only for it to, I'm like, is this really happening? Like right now? Is he really doing this? And then I'm like, okay, why was that in there? Maybe to set the scene, because like I said, after this, he's shown sitting outside of the building and she sees him, but she doesn't look like. And I'm like, okay. And it like really ends up the narration and stuff, and I'm just like, okay, that's cool. You hoping one day you and your girlfriend can be cool, but what about the other girl in your life? You're not worried about where she went or what's going on with her. No, she's gone from the moment that she leaves. I thought she was going to show up and end up helping him or something, but nothing. There's nothing. What? Like it's like, oh, we need a reason for him to get into this, so they have her seduce him, and they're like, oh, we don't need him anymore. The writers are like, oh, we don't need her anymore, so just have her leave. And it's like that. I don't know. But I really did like this film. It's another one hit out a home run from Cody Lee. So thank you, Cody, for that. And I'm gonna say that when it comes to Lookout, It's pretty good. So, what are your thoughts on The Lookout? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. And, M. For M, I'm finally going to look at a remake that I've needed to look at. I've done the 3 movies that came before it. One from 99, and then 2002, and then from 2008. But there was a remake that came out in 2017 starring Tom Cruise that I still have yet to look at. And if you figure out what movie it is, you know why I haven't done this. But it's time. To quote Bruce Buffer, it's time. Till then, thank you for watching. I've been Scotty, and I'll see you in the next one.